Big Show, presented by Seat77.com. As always, Dave Dabbah is coming to you live from the Super Plush Seat 77 broadcast studio in the heart of Silicon Valley. Now, Dave Dabbah.
North America, good afternoon. I am Dave Dabbah, and this is the Dave Dabbah Big Show for a weekend. That's right, it is the big weekend edition. Just getting back from a fabulous vacation. Oh boy, have we got a huge, I do mean a huge show for you today. Here's what we have for you today. A Delta airplane lands at the wrong airport. It's true. Kevin Durant to the Warriors. LeBron James hasn't signed yet with the Cavs. Are the Cavs fans getting nervous? I will tell you. We've got craziness, absolute craziness in the NBA as free agency is officially off and running, and billions, and I do mean billions of dollars, are being spread out across the National Basketball Association teams. All of that, plus I will tell you who is the all-time most overpaid player in the history of NBA free agency, and it just happened. It just happened days ago. We have all of that. Of course, we'll slip in a Johnny Manziel story, all of that and more for you today on the Super Big Show. Okay, North America, we are super excited. We are debuting on iHeartRadio as well. You can catch us in the podcast section. The Dave Dabbah Big Show has gone big time as we are on iHeartRadio now. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the SoundCloud, Spreaker, and of course, as always, our big iTunes channel is blowing up. So thank you for all of your support there.
And now, North America, it's time for exclusive coverage of the National Basketball Association, the league that Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Air Jordan saved for Shaq, Kobe, and LeBron James. Presented by Seat77.com. And now, back to the Dave Dabbah Big Show.
Okay, North America, it is so good to be back, totally refreshed from a week-long road trip. That's right, it was our version of vacation, if you will. Now, no dog was attached to the back of the car. We didn't bump into too many Ferraris with blondes, so not too many Chevy Chase moments in our trip. But I will say this, we went to a fabulous family wedding in San Diego. And if you have a chance to get to San Diego, I highly recommend it. It was absolutely fantastic. Anyways, so much has happened in the world over the last week since we've been gone. As I mentioned, we are debuting the Dave Dabbah Big Show on iHeartRadio. So you can check us out in the podcast section there. We are super excited about that. All right, now, so, normally we cover just sports, but occasionally we slip in some politics and a couple other stories. But this story caught my attention, and I figured we had to lead with it when I got back from vacation because it was the most ridiculous thing I have seen in a long time. Now, imagine you're on a plane, a Delta Airlines plane, and you're flying to South Dakota. All right. And, there's really only like a handful of reasons why you would fly to South Dakota. Anyway, so you're going to Sioux Falls, and you're one of 130 passengers, and your plane lands, and it lands in the wrong airport. Way to go, Delta. Delta used to stand for, I'm not sure if you remember this, but Delta used to stand for don't ever leave the airport because they had such a bad track record for mistakes back in the 80s and 90s. That's what me and my friends used to call Delta. Don't ever leave the airport. And this is unbelievable that a pilot could actually make a mistake. He missed the actual destination by 5 miles, ends up landing at an Air Force base. I mean, how does that even happen? Anyways, So apparently our modern technology, not as modern as we thought it was. All right, elsewhere around the wonderful world, as we all know, Kevin Durant has signed with the Golden State Warriors. In one of our last broadcasts before the big vacay, I had mentioned that I didn't think it would work having Kevin Durant become a Golden State Warrior. I will cover more of my thoughts on his decision to be a Warrior a little bit later. A couple other news and notes from the NBA draft, or free agency, I should say, because this has just been a wacky week of NBA free agency. I don't remember a year where so much has gone down in NBA free agency in the history of the National Basketball Association. This has been an amazing time of the NBA for free agency. And if I were to pull up, and I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to pull up my NBA free agency tracker right now, and there's just some unbelievable deals that got done. Kent Bazemore is getting 4 years for $70 million. Bradley Beal, will he even play in half of the games next season? He got 5 years, $130 million to stay in Washington. It's just been an unbelievable free agency season so far. But the biggest overrated contract of all time in the history of NBA free agency went to Harrison Barnes. That is right. I said it. Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes goes to, are you ready for this? The Dallas Mavericks. He got, to miss shots for the Dallas Mavericks, to fall asleep and not actually be a primary player for the Dallas Mavericks, because trust me, Harrison Barnes is messed up in the head. He's a good guy, but he got lost and spit out by a well-oiled team in Golden State, as we all know. Here's the numbers. Are you ready? And I'm sure you've heard of this, but $94 million for a 4-year deal. That's $23.5 million per year for Harrison Barnes. He is the most overpaid free agent of all time. Trust me, it is unbelievable. Other unbelievable deals that went down. Matthew Dellavedova. Just fun to say, right? Dellavedova. He got $38 million. Matthew Dellavedova. Will he score more than 10 points a game? I doubt it. He's going to the Milwaukee Bucks. $9.6 million a year. Clearly, I should have worked on my jump shot, because Matthew is my height. I could have played in the NBA if Matthew Dellavedova did. Unbelievable. $38 million to him. The deals are crazy. We will cover more of them next week on the big show. But I thought we would dive into a little bit more details of one of the most shocking deals that went down. And this was, of course, D-Wade to the Chicago Bulls. It is unbelievable. So Dwyane Wade has bailed on the Heat after 13 years of basking in the glory of Miami. He walks away with 3 championships. And more importantly than the 3 championships, he's got cult-like status in Miami. He's bigger, believe it or not, than Dan Marino and Don Shula, almost combined in Miami. That is how big Dwyane Wade was and is to the Miami metropolitan area. It's unbelievable. So he got 2 years, $47 million to go to the Chicago Bulls. And if Bradley Beal's going to get 130 over 5 to play in Washington, this was a good deal for the Bulls, right? But it's a little strange because the Bulls now have 3 guards, 3 essential point guards. They picked up Rajon Rondo as well, and they're paying him like $10 million a year basically. And they got Jimmy Butler, who has been on the trade block, who won't be traded now. So they now have a 3-guard rotation. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's going to be so fantastic when the Bulls actually do this. They're going to start. This is going to be the first time in the history of the NBA. You heard it here first on the Dave Dabbah Big Show. They are going to start 5 guards in one game. I can't wait. wait to see it. So you might wonder what happened in Miami. And so there's all sorts of rumors. The rumor mill is all over the place. And one of the big rumors is that Pat Riley really didn't want to bring Dwyane Wade back. And that might be hard for a lot of you to actually understand. But the rumor, I think, has a lot of validity to it. So Pat Riley, apparently not wanting to bring Dwyane Wade back, went ahead and offered Dwyane, and this is just a rumor. This is allegedly. He allegedly only offered Dwyane $10 million a year to stay in Miami. You know, that's the old out with the old, in with the new trick. When somebody in an organization wants somebody to go, they just simply really, really lowball them. And if they take it, then great. I mean, you would take Dwyane Wade on a team that you're trying to rebuild if you could just get him for $10 million in the current National Basketball Association economy, right? I mean, everybody would. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in Chicago as the season begins to unfold. And of course, the biggest free agency story of the year goes to Kevin Durant. The Golden State Warriors sold 1,000 KD jerseys during the first day that they were available on Warriors.com. And I bet you they could have sold more if they had more available. They can't print those things fast enough. Now, here's some other interesting things that have happened with the Warriors since KD signed. Remember, the Warriors won the championship last year. And this year, they lost. Then they signed KD, and they have a faster season ticket waiting list now. It's actually like triple as big as it was last year at this time. And that's because Kevin Durant, the biggest free agency in basketball, signed with the Warriors. So I got to take a step back now. For those of you that have been listening to the Dave Dabbah Big Show for the last 6 months, you know my thoughts on Kevin Durant, and I'll just bring you all in on this, is that I had hoped that Kevin would stay in OKC. I would have loved to have seen him give the OKC organization at least one more year. They came so close. Just one more year to see what they could do. A couple good hires, a couple good moves in free agency, and OKC would be right there again in the Western Conference Finals and would have a legitimate chance at beating the Warriors, especially after the Warriors kind of got gutted a little bit during free agency. We know Harrison Barnes is gone, Bogut is gone, Brandon Rush to my Minnesota Timberwolves, not that that's a big deal, and they lost a couple other players as well, which is just kind of typical. So I just wanted to see KD stay there. If he wasn't going to stay there, I wanted to see him go to the Celtics. I thought they had a nice young nucleus. Putting a Kevin Durant into the East would make the East far more interesting than it is on a day-by-day basis. And to me, that would have been fantastic to watch. But it's not my decision. It's KD's decision. And I don't blame him for wanting to go to a team that's actually going to get him a NBA championship. Now, of course, I wanted him to go to the Lakers, which wasn't going to happen because they're rebuilding. And Kevin Durant's really not into the whole Hollywood thing like a Shaquille O'Neal is. If he had been, he would have gone to the Lakers and done the whole rebuild with the Lakers and would have brought him back to some form of glory. Instead, Mitch Kupchak is signing guys. He's signing guys that don't deserve the kind of money he's giving him, like a Timothy Mozgov, who got $64 million to play, I don't know, maybe, this is what I think the stat line's going to look like for Mozgov. It's going to be 7 points a game in 12 minutes with 4 fouls. I don't know how many rebounds, it doesn't matter. 7 points, 4 fouls in 12 minutes. That's Mozgov. Way to go, Mitch Kupchak. Just brilliant. Not at all, Mitch. So it should be very interesting to see what happens with the Lakers now that they have kind of just brought in some really bad pieces with some young talent as well. But back to KD. So after KD makes his announcement, some of the fans, not all of them, but a lot of the fans in OKC did what the fans did in Cleveland, several years back when LeBron left. And they started burning his jerseys. And, I started thinking about this. First of all, classless. unnecessary. This is a guy that gave you 7-8 years of his life and helped put the Thunder on the map. I mean, seriously, without Kevin Durant, would OKC have ever made the playoffs? And you treat this guy, who is so good to your community, the way you did. Unacceptable, OKC. Absolutely unacceptable. He deserves better than that. All right, North America, tell us what you think. I want to hear from you. info@seat77.com.
And now, North America, it's time to get down and dirty for some hard-hitting, concussion-causing coverage of the National Football League. The sport that Dave is so passionate about that he hasn't missed a single play of a Minnesota Viking game for the past 16 years. Presented by Seat77.com. And now, back to the Dave Dabbah Big Show.
Okay, North America, just a couple quick, and I do mean quick, National Football League stories for you. And, of course, we will bring up Johnny Manziel towards the end of this segment, because how can you not have a National Football League segment without some Johnny Manziel? All right, into the National Football League news and notes we go. Von Miller and the Denver Broncos are continuing to swap proposals. Back and forth they go. It looks like something will get done soon. The Rams star running back Todd Gurley talks about Jared Goff and says he couldn't ask for a better QB. Hey, Todd, maybe you should wait and see what actually happens. I mean, at least wait for a preseason game before you say something like that. Anybody can look good in OTAs, Todd. Megatron comes out and says one of the primary reasons he decided to retire is the Detroit Lions are no good. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that is precisely what Megatron was saying. Elsewhere around the National Football League, Brett Favre talks about Derek Carr and says Derek Carr is a little more polished than he was at this stage of his career. And I think that's a really good sign for Raider Nation, which hopefully will move to Las Vegas. All right, and finally, we have our Johnny Manziel daily story for you. And not sure if you saw this, but suddenly in Cleveland, you know, since the championship of the Cavs, and they won the championship, and now all the Johnny Manziel gear is for sale. You can get a Johnny Manziel jersey for $1.99. Look, I'm not sure if that includes shipping, but $1.99 for a Johnny Manziel jersey in Cleveland. And of course, so Johnny sees this and he tweets about it, which is the worst possible thing that Johnny could do, is react to it. Don't react to this stuff, Johnny. Just ignore it. And he did, you know, an LOL and said a couple other things, and he's trying to brush it off. But basically, it really makes Johnny look like a rich, spoiled kid. Johnny Manziel, you, sir, are unacceptable. Get your act together. Now, last month, Johnny said that as of July 4th, he was going to stop drinking. And we are sitting here on July 9th, and we have not had a single TMZ report in the last 5 days. Hey, by the way, it's like, does TMZ have a secret under the table contract with Johnny Manziel? I mean, they seem to just like follow him around. It's truly amazing. All right, North America, listen, it is so good, as I mentioned, to be back in the seat after the big vacation to San Diego. If you have a chance, do get down to San Diego. All right, for the silent one, I am Dave Dabbah, reminding you that not everyone can be a champion, but everyone, and I do mean everyone, can act like one can. And good luck, North America.